We having fun? Is everyone doing well this evening? How did you like when Darren says, what he's going to be teaching? I'm like, what's up with this? You know, what's up with teaching? What's that? I am going to teach. Okay, we're going to have some fun this evening. How many of you, this is your first time down here this evening? Okay, so we got half the room's new tonight. That's awesome. We love to see when half the room is new, and we love to see when we got people returning. For those of you who've returned, how many of you, second time, third time or more? Okay, so hopefully you'll see that we're providing value, right? We want to teach people, and there's the first one. Did you catch that? Got it. I found it. Have you guys ever noticed that you have those words when you don't know what else to say, you either put in an or a ah? Mine are right and K. So I'm working on eliminating those tonight. Okay? So what we found is when people come down, they're getting value from what we're offering. And the way we created our system is we wanted to provide education. How many of you have been down to a real estate seminar in the past? Where there's some local guru. I mean, look around the room. Keep your hands up. Look, we are all in similar company. Okay, we've all attended an event. You go down, and I just recently attended one back in, when was that, Jackie? December? Yes. Back in December, I attended an event, and there were 350 people in the room. 350 people that all came down, just like we are tonight, wanting to learn real estate investing. And what did they get instead? A sales pitch that lasted the entire evening. And when you're done, run to the back of the room, because tonight and tonight only, we're slashing the price and we're throwing in the Ginsu knives or whatever the promotion was. Okay? We didn't want to do that. We've seen that. We've experienced that. And what I've found is when I go to those events, that it's just an upsell into something else. And when that person comes and goes, they fly out of town, like Darren mentioned. The guys that I was watching, they were from Florida. They flew into town. The next day, they were going to San Diego and maybe up to Orange County. And then they were gone, flying to the next city. And anybody that had purchased was left here to be on their own. No community, no support. Have you experienced that? So here's what I experienced. I saw 350 people come down that want to learn. By the end of the evening, there were 50 people left. About 20 had purchased their education program for about $2,000. 20 out of 350 people. And what I took away from that is I looked around and I saw all of these people that really want to learn to invest. And I stood in the back of the room that evening with a bit of confidence. And it wasn't arrogance, but it was confidence that I knew I had done more transactions than probably 95% of the room. And I knew I could help people that wanted to learn how to invest. So when we invite people down, our mantra is a little bit different. There's three main things that we want people to do. Okay? Number one, and we went over this last week and we're going to go over it again next week. Number one, we want people to get educated. Because that's the first step of any endeavor, is it not? You've got to get educated, whether you're going to be a physician, whether you're going to be a doctor, an attorney, an accountant, you first have to get trained in your field. Number two, we want you to get a mentor. Why is a mentor beneficial? What does a mentor even do?
Stop you from making mistakes.
Oh. High five, Nancy. That is really what a mentor does, is they stop you from making mistakes. They're going to hold your hand through the process. They're going to say, look, I've done this before. This isn't my first rodeo. Why don't you come hold my hand? Now, there's a lot of programs that offer mentorship, typically to the tune of $25,000 for 3 days. Who wants to pay that kind of money for a mentor for 3 days? If you do, you're certainly not going to find that around here. Okay? That's not what we're about. So the third step, so get educated, get a mentor, and number three, probably the most important, take action. I'm going to give you information tonight. Tonight, this is going to be our playground. We are going to spend time on the whiteboard. I am not the type of presenter that creates a nice, beautiful PowerPoint. It took me 2 minutes before we started tonight to even get this on the screen. Okay? So my strengths do not lie in creating beautiful PowerPoints that I can just click the button and we'll have a wonderful conversation. That's not going to happen. We're going to see a lot of chaos on the screen. I'm going to be going in and out of presentations. There's a few key questions that we're going to teach you tonight on how to raise capital. Now, many of you know that's what we're talking about this evening, yes? How to raise capital. There's a lot of reasons of why people don't invest. We all want to get into investing, correct? By show of hands, how many of you have done some transactions already? All right, let me step back. Okay, let's keep your hand up if you've done 2 or more. More than 5. More than 10. 20. 30. Okay, so we lose. You don't count. No, you don't. No, you just came along for the ride. You don't count. Those are my deals.
I want to keep going. I don't have
100. 110. 120. 130. He doesn't even. He's my numbers guy, and he doesn't even know the numbers. We're up to 141 now, and he doesn't even know it. Doors. 141. Okay. I did it again. Let's go back a little bit and give you a little bit about my history. I want you guys to understand what even qualifies me to talk to you this evening, because we're just going to share information. Just so you know, you're not here for a sales presentation this evening. We're going to teach you. And then right in the middle of the presentation, we're going to spend 15, 20 minutes, and we're going to talk about the educational system that taught us how to invest. And then we're going to teach you some more. Is everybody comfortable with that? So you all know right up front, there is no run to the back of the room. There is no, we're going to take your credit card this evening if you want to get involved with us. That's not the way we roll. That's not the way this system works. We understand that you're here to learn information this evening, and you will get info. You will get info that you can go implement tomorrow in your business. And then we invite you back. And we invite you back again. And back again and back again. Just come. If you want to just come get free information, great. We're going to teach you every single week. But eventually what happens is people say, I want to be part of this community. I want to be part of it. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to help the experience grow. Fair enough? So is everybody's guard down now? Okay. So with the guard down, let's continue. Let's give you just a little bit about my background, and we're going to make this very brief because really we want to get into information tonight. Let's look at a timeline. Okay? We're going to go back about 9 years, 10 years, when I first got started in investing. Here's what happened. I came in as a broke college student, making nothing. Found this opportunity. I came in, I made my first $1 million, and that was really cool. Then what happened in about, 2008? Does anybody else remember what happened in 2008? Wasn't that a glorious year? I mean, the economy was pumping. We were all making so much money. Or not. The decline. The biggest decline since the Great Depression. And you see, I didn't just stop at 0, right? I went beyond losing all the money that I had acquired, and I ended up $300,000 in debt. Who wants to start a real estate business, $300,000 in debt, with a credit score of 473? Beats you? Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. Your credit's worse than mine.
It was.
It was.
6, maybe.
There you go. So here we were, 473 credit score, $300,000 in debt, and I'm living on borrowed funds just to pay my bills because I didn't want to give up on my dream. That's how bad I wanted this. I knew that I had had success in the past, but does past success guarantee future success? No, it doesn't. But how many of you have ever read biographies on successful people? What is always, before they make it big, typically, what always happens? Experience. Some like to call that failure. I like to call it experience. When I teach, what I teach you this evening comes from experience. It comes because I have failed. And I have failed miserably. And I ended up $300,000 in debt. And I couldn't file bankruptcy. Why? Because those were family and friends. And that's not right. And so I couldn't do it. So what have I been doing for the last 5 years? I've been digging out of this hole. Just find a little bit of dirt on the side and I fill it in. And I fill it in and I fill it in. Now that's just because that was right for my situation, for me and my family. Other people are different, and I have no judgment against bankruptcy. It just wasn't right for me. We okay with that? So then Darren and I started our business. Literally, no, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. That's the best part of the whole story, is we had to learn how to do this without money and without credit. So this whole concept of how do you buy real estate with no money or no credit, can it be done? Absolutely it can be done. And let's fast forward a little bit. We started our company in 2010, and we were broke, and we went out and we started, the first thing, we found some partners and we bought some houses, and we said, all right, they're going to use our experience of how to analyze properties. They gave us the money we needed. We got our start with $500,000. How many of you with $500,000 could get a start in real estate? How many of you could get a start with half of that? This evening, I guarantee you, when you leave tonight, I will show you how to get $250,000 if you do what I talked about earlier, which is step number 3. Take what?
Action.
Take action. If you take action, I will show you tonight, by the time you leave here, you will have the tools you need to go raise $250,000. Fair enough? Awesome. So Darren and I started our business. And it sort of went like this. It went really slow for a long time, and then it took off. And now, right here in our valley in Murrieta, we've done 100 houses, and outside of our valley, we own 41 doors, or have purchased 41 doors. Now, by doors, what do I mean? Units. 34 of these are single-family homes. One of them is a 7-plex. We're going to talk about the 7-plex this evening. We're going to talk about a couple of interesting deals of raising capital. Some ways that you've thought of already, some ways that you haven't. But to give you a little bit more of what qualifies us to teach this, we know what we're doing. If I hadn't been able to raise capital, is there any way I could have done 141 houses? No. Because do you have the money to do this? I mean, even still, now guys, this has yielded a net profit north of $2.2 million. Why do I talk in terms of net profit?
It's the only profit that counts.
It's the only one that matters. If we're talking gross numbers, that's irrelevant. You don't care how much we made gross. You just want to know, what did you take home to mama? Those are the only numbers that matter. It's a humbling realization to realize that between Darren and I, we've been the brainchild to earn a net income of $2.2 million, and I still struggle just like every one of you. If there are people in the room that are struggling. Some of you are, some of you aren't. But I have the same fears and apprehensions that you do. I have the same struggles that you do. I make a very good income, and I give about 60% of it away every single month to my creditors because I'm still filling in that hole. Is that okay? Does that in any way discount what I know? It doesn't. It just means I'm just like you. How many of you have credit card debt or debt that you want to get rid of? Does anybody else just want, I mean, my biggest goal in life right now, it's a pathetic goal, but it's true. It's not pathetic, it's awesome. My biggest goal is to get back to zero. I want to get back to zero where I don't owe anybody anything. I told my wife, I'm like, honey, this is so cool. It's our 15-year anniversary this year, and we're going to get right back to where we started. We're going to get back to zero. The difference is now I make a very good 6-figure income. So once I'm back to zero and I get to keep that money, guess what happens? Have you ever seen those slingshots on YouTube where the guys come back in the human slingshot and then they just catapult forward? That's what's going to happen in our business. So I'm really excited about that. So that's a little bit about my background, a little bit about my experience. Now let's talk about, why are you folks here this evening? Why are you here? Tim, why are you here?
To learn something different. To add to my tool belt.
Something different such as what?
Just another avenue, another approach.
Okay, Spencer, why are you here?
Because the rat race can only take you so far.
Oh, what's the rat race? That's definitely terminology we use in our business, right?
For me, it's the job, it's the boss, it's the W-2.
Okay, the job, the boss, the W-2. The same daily grind. Get up, go to work, go home, go to sleep. Get up, go to work, go home, go to sleep. Maybe catch a little TV in there. Pardon? Pay taxes, yeah. I truly believe we were put on this earth to do more than just pay taxes and die. We've all heard about, you look at your gravestone and Kendall was born in 1978 and he's going to die in whatever year I die. And they talk about defining the dash. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Like, it's what we do here. Defining the dash. What are we here for? Let's define our dash. My dash isn't just to come, go to work every day, pay my taxes, and die. I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I want to make some significance. I want my dash to be significant. So if you want to make your dash significant, I learned 10 years ago that what I was doing wasn't going to work. Same thing, I was in a rat race. I was working full-time and going to school full-time. My original career choice is I was going to be a dentist. I'm standing in front of you today. Did I get into dental school? No, I did not. And I'm so glad I didn't get into dental school. Any dentists in the room? That would be, really? I have one in the back raising her hand. Oh, your husband's a dentist. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I could do that. Now I go to the dentist and I watch the mouth they work in is, this big, and I'm like, no, I'm in the right field now. So, all right, why else are you guys here? Charlie.
Show me where the money's at.
Show me the money. You want to make money? Who's here because they want to earn more of this? Who wants to make more money? And specifically in real estate. You want to make money in real estate? Okay. Haven't you heard that's really risky? Haven't you heard there's no money to be made in real estate? Market's dead right now. Who else has people telling you this can't be done? All right. Do we invite them into our circle, or do we say, I don't want to listen to you?
Oh, I'm married to it, so I don't have a choice.
Oh, sometimes our significant other can either be the greatest support to our business or the biggest detriment to our business. And that can be very, very difficult. All right, who else? Why else are you here? Adrian.
I want my time back.
You want your time back. So you want more money, you want more time. What else?
Pay off student debt.
Anybody else need to pay off some loans, pay off some debts? Okay. Reduce your liabilities. What else? You'll find, if we haven't already determined this, you'll find I'm going to ask you questions all night long. This is not a lecture. Lectures are boring.
I want stability. In other words, not worrying about if the job's going to be there tomorrow or, it won't matter, because I live with it pretty much every day.
Is that like infused in the X chromosome? There's my science background, Dr. Slusser. What do you think? Is that on the X? So the stability, that's what my wife wants. She's like, ooh, financial independence. What does that mean?
It means that you're not relying on the job and creditors and you can just be on your own and not have to be dependent on other sources of unreliable, I guess.
We could go on vacation if we want to.
Yeah.
So how do we get there? We all want a piece of this, right?
Take a step.
I said what I wanted is I wanted to be able to go where I want, when I wanted, with whom I wanted. That's really, if you make more money, why do you want more money? What are you going to do with that money? Don't all speak at once.
I want to leave money for generations beyond me.
Generational
I
wealth.
came from a very poor background. So, I didn't have a choice. I had to go get a job. I had to join the Marine Corps. I had to go do something because
No
there
silver
wasn't even
spoon.
a penny there for me. So my kids, my 3 kids, my how many ever grandchildren or whatever, I want something to be generations still there, feeding off of what I created.
Who can resonate with what Tim's saying? You want generational wealth. Is that not a beautiful thing? It really is. Who's experienced that? Who's seen families or they have family members where they see that occurs? I've seen others experience that. Challenge is nobody told my family about that. That's not in the cards for me, and it wasn't in the cards for my parents, and it sounds like for you. But I've seen families where they take their money and they invest it, and they put their money to work while they're sleeping. And every single day, their money is earning interest. There's 2 types of interest, yes? We either pay interest or earn interest. So their money's always working. And I've seen, and I've got family members from family that I married into, that now I watch them, and both parents just passed away, and this uncle, he's a millionaire. Because of why? Generational wealth. Just like that. Now, is he done? Can he stop working? No. He's got to do what with his money now? Invest it. If you have millions and you spend millions, it evaporates. You can't just have this spend down philosophy. You got to put your money to work. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to find a system that would teach me First, how to make money, how to accomplish some of these we're talking about. I wanted to reduce my liabilities. I wanted more stability. I wanted to work towards financial independence. And I wanted my time back. Because honestly, that's what it comes down to. Money's one thing, but it's who are you going to spend your time with? That's what's most important. Would you agree? I mean, we can make all the money we want, but if we don't utilize that money to go do something that makes a difference in that dash we talked about earlier, then what's the money for? I've seen people, Adrian, I think maybe you've even talked to me about guys at your work, that they come in and actually Kim as well, have both shared stories about people in their employment, your husband's employment, that they're literally killing over dead at 65. And all they did is get up, go to work until literally the day they died. Okay?
One of my friends defined being rich as having time and money and health. And, you know, he got a hold of me and drilled this into my head really quick. And he also said that most Americans are on the 50-50-50 plan where they work 50 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, and then they die at age 50. And so, you know, you don't want to be on that plan, you know.
No. Does anybody want that plan? No. Oh, Isaac's like, please. No, nobody wants that plan.
Yeah, I mean, he worked 20 hours a week from age 20 to age 40, and then he retired.
Awesome.
You know, so
Who wants that plan?
So that's, you know, and he drilled that into my head, and that's how I got started on investing.
Okay, so we learned that that's what we're looking for. People want to invest. We know that the wealthy 1% of people in this country are business owners and investors. I mean, just read the books on successful people. They own their own business and they invest in real estate. So why don't we invest? If you haven't invested yet, why not? How many of you, one of the biggest challenges holding you back, well, actually tell me, what are the challenges holding you back? Money? You've got too much? Don't know what to do with it? Or lack thereof? Okay, so lack of money holds people back.
Not knowing what to do.
Lack of knowledge holds people back.
Fear.
Fear. Oh, isn't that an awful word? Fear. Isn't that crazy? What is fear really?
False evidence appearing real.
False evidence appearing real. Oftentimes the things we fear the most never end up happening. And people worry about it so much that they make it a reality. And it doesn't happen in every case. So those are huge reasons of why people don't invest. They don't know how. They don't have the time, the money, or the credit. And they're afraid. They're afraid to get into the game. The reason we're here this evening is because those were the same challenges that I had. I didn't know how. I hadn't gotten educated. I didn't have a mentor to tell me what not to do. And I wasn't going to go take action blindly. That can be more costly than getting an education. I always tell people, you're going to get an education one way or another. We can either learn from people's mistakes, or we can just go make them on our own and lose our shorts. How many of you know people that have lost a lot of money in investing? You know, I used to be able to stand up here just a few weeks ago and say, Darren and I were so proud, we'd pound our chest and say, you know what? In over 100 and some odd deals, we've never lost money. Unfortunately, we can't say that anymore. We just took our first loss. And that sucks, it hurts. But 1 out of 100 and some odd, is that okay? Can you lose money in real estate? Will you most likely lose money in real estate? Yes, so we've got to learn how to go make sure that we make more than we lose.
Must be the guy who does your number.
It's Darren. It's his fault. Yeah, that's what I said, Scott. I'm like, how'd you screw this up so bad? Larry.
Well, I thought Darren would tell you, but since he hasn't, you got a smudge of
I was gonna tell you that too.
Thank you. You got a mark on the board, not on your
I was
face.
thinking of how I was gonna tell you, but
Is my fly up? Is it still there?
just a tiny bit.
Should I draw a smiley face? That'll.
Kim's gonna.
Yeah. All right, Jacqueline.
Tape tonight.
That's awesome. Thank you, Larry. How come Larry's the only one that's going to tell me I got stuff on my face? What's wrong with you people?
Because you had your confidence. We didn't want to drop it in.
We getting this on camera?
You'll be sweating in a little while.
Still there? It hurts. Are we still there? Where's my mom? I need her magic juice on her thumb. I'm all nervous, guys. You scared me. Thanks, Larry. You're fired. I'm looking for a new partner. Anybody want to participate? Yes. No, well, you're fired until after the bike ride tomorrow. Okay, where are we with the smudge?
It's gone now. It's good.
The smudge is gone. Very good. What were we just talking about?
The things that,
Oh, what holds us back? Okay. So I was really grateful that 9 years ago I found a solution. I found somebody to teach me how to overcome all of these obstacles because I didn't want to learn how to go do them on my own. Now, even with education, I still made mistakes and I lost money. And I lost everything. And it was probably the very best thing that could ever happen to me. I don't encourage people to go out and have to lose everything and learn from your own experience. I would rather learn from the experience of others rather than have to experience this loss and failure all on my own. But now let's move forward and let's talk about what we came here this evening. For some of you who may have found us on Meetup or some other site, you don't know exactly what we're going to talk about this evening. Tonight's topic is specifically on how to raise capital. How to raise the money that you need to go out and do real estate deals. How many of you would agree that lack of capital is one of the biggest hurdles of why you're not investing? Maybe lack of capital, and who would also agree that lack of capital and lack of education is why you're not investing? Okay, so let's move forward. Let's talk about raising private capital. Let's talk about how to fund real estate deals. Because if we can fund the deals, are there deals to be had out there? Yes. The deal of the decade comes along how often?
Every 15 seconds.
Every week. But you've got to know how to recognize them. You have to know what you're looking for. And then once you've found the deal, you better have the right structure to be able to put it all together. So we're going to go over a couple of different ways this evening. I'm going to introduce you with a couple of ideas that you may be familiar with, some that you may not be familiar with, and then we're going to get into my favorite topic of how to raise capital. But when we're talking raising money, if I say, Ariel, I need to raise $250,000 in order to go buy 123 Main Street, and I need it in a week. How many of you could raise $250,000 in a week?
I asked Kendall.
You'd ask me. Awesome. And I will, that's awesome. Good answer. We'll do something very fun. Will you go grab the stuff out of your desk drawer? We're going to do that again tonight. It's kind of cool. I know it freaks you out, but we're going to do it anyway. So we need to go get $250,000. If we're looking in this group right now, how can we raise the money? How do we typically think, if I need $250,000 and I'm not going to use a hard money lender, we all know what a hard money lender is, yes? Or who doesn't know what a hard money? Some may not know what a hard money lender is. So if we find a good transaction, we can go find a hard money lender. There are people out there willing to give us the money based on a certain percentage. Okay, most of the time, if we're looking at a $250,000 acquisition, are they going to give me the full $250,000? Usually not. What are they going to give me? 65 to 75%. Wow. That's 65 and 75 blended in one number. That is awesome.
They might give you 67.
That's right. 65 to 75% of my purchase price. So let's expand this a little further so we've got the scenario here. Let's say that we buy it for $250,000, we need $30,000 in rehab, and it's got a fair market value of $350,000. Does that sound reasonable? Okay, so let's come over here. So we've got a fair market value of $350,000. So do I really just need to raise $250,000 or do I need to raise more? Okay, I need to raise everything for acquisition plus rehab and holding costs. Let's look at this. Typically, your hard money lender is going to give you 65 to 75% of that value. Now, 65 to 75%, where are my mathematicians? Or who's got an iPhone with a calculator? Isn't it bad how we are so bad at math? And I say we loosely because we are so bad at math, especially if you're in front of a room asking people.
175 to 70%.
So 70% is $175,000. So if this lender gives us 70% of our purchase price, and we need, how much do we need total for our rehab, for everything? We need $280,000, so we still need how much more? at least $100,000 or $120,000 more. So even though there's a hard money lender out there that's willing to give you money based on the property alone, most of them, they're not going to give you all of it. They're going to give you 65 to 75% of your purchase price, and then they're going to want you to bring the balance and rehab. Okay. But what if I don't have the additional $110,000 or $120,000? Now what? Well, then there's bridge loans you can get, and there's other lenders that will even bridge the gap. But let's talk about this guy for a minute. He's going to give me $175,000, and what's he going to charge?
2.5 to 3% up front.
Okay, what are those called? He says they're going to charge 2.5 to 3% up front. So you're going to have anywhere from 2 to 4 points. Now, what is a point in a real estate transaction? A point. 1 point equals 1% of what? The amount borrowed. The amount borrowed. So on this, let's go right in the middle again. 3 points on 175. 1750 times 3. You guys are awesome. 5250? I'll buy that. So $5,250 in points. This means if they give you $175,000 today and you pay it off 3 days later, you must bring at least the points, yes? $5,250. Do they just charge points? They also charge interest to the tune of what? I've seen some that are quite honestly, very reasonable. I've seen them as low as 8%, as high as 20%. I mean, there's a huge range. On average, I would say you're looking at 2 to 4 points and 15 to 16% on average. Those averages, believe it or not, they're coming down right now. Why would they be coming down? There's a lot of lenders with money saying, hey, I don't know where to put my money. Do you want it? And the competition is driving their fees down. Is that a good thing for us? It's a great time to borrow money when money's on sale. It really is. Okay, so now the hard money is a partial solution here. But we still don't have all the money. So where are you going to come up with the balance? This one's mine, right? I feel so weird coming in front of Spencer and grabbing his water. Where do we find the rest of the money?
Private investor?
A private investor, maybe put another loan on the property. Okay.
Some people might have a credit card or a home equity line that they could use.
Okay, so some of the things we could use, so some very traditional ways that we can fund deals. We could use credit cards. How many of you would be willing to fund a real estate transaction on a credit card? Look at this. A lot of people are shaking their head no.
I don't even have a balance of
2008. Think back to your retirement account. In September of 2008, the Dow, in case you don't recall, the Dow was at 11,000. By October, 27 days later, it had dropped down to 8. Poof! It's gone. And what do your bankers are very much like this guy up here. Well, don't worry, we're just going to invest it in this, invest it over here, blah, 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 poof, it's gone. And we laugh because up there it's funny. But how many of you experienced this in your retirement account in 08? Or know people who experienced this in their retirement account? My dad, my father, had retired like 2 years prior, 2008. I think he retired in 2006. And my dad spent his entire professional career in the banking industry. And what industry got destroyed in 2008?
Banking.
Poof, it's gone. 75% of his retirement plan, gone. Because as a banker, what did he do? What stocks did he own? He owned stock in the company that he worked for. And poof, it's gone. These years later, 6, 7 years later, still hasn't recovered. Hasn't even recovered back to where he was. I know some people that their accounts have recovered at least to where they started 7 years ago. Now, let's talk about that for a moment. Let's get real with this. The stock market today, what is it at? Who follows the stock market? Are we still up 17,000? What is it? 17,000? A few weeks ago, we were bordering 18,000, yes? Here we are in the highest
17,416.
17,416. The highest markets that we've ever had. But those of us who have retirement accounts, are your accounts earning the greatest earnings they've ever earned? No, they're not. There's a massive disconnect there. We've got the highest market ever, yet our accounts are still suffering because poof, it's gone. And a lot of that is a lot of fear. People are hesitant to step into the market because they don't understand it. And that would be me. I don't understand anything about the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market. Why? Because I learned philosophy number 1, don't ever invest in what you don't know. If I don't know the stock market, don't invest there. Now, I'm not going to diss on the stock market too bad because can millionaires be created in the stock market? Oh, absolutely. But I don't know how to do that. And what I didn't like about that form of what I jokingly call legalized gambling is this comic is a reality. Poof, it's gone. And what do you have to show for it? If you own stock and poof, it's gone, you have nothing to show for it but a worthless piece of paper. In real estate, poof, it's gone. The market crashed. We felt that, yes? But what did we still have? Even if the market crashes, what do we still have? It's going to take a really big poof before that's gone. It's going to take something like an explosion or something awful, or a natural disaster, before our actual asset is gone. But then it's insured. But what about market values? What about people who just bought too high? Their market value, their loans aren't insured. But what do they still have? They still have a house. So what we like to teach is teach people how to go out and be safe in their investments. Buy based on cash flow. If your property cash flows, great investment, potentially. I mean, it's not quite that simple. But we all know people that lost their shorts back in 2006, 7, and 8 in the decline of the real estate market. What happened to them? Did they have cash flowing properties?
Nope.
Were they cash flowing every single month?
Nope.
Or did they use them as big, giant ATM machines? Oh, let's see, I bought a house and poof, it's worth 100 grand more next week. And so I go pull out money. And then poof, 6 months later, another 100 grand. And we got into these overinflated markets that were insane. Did I just do it again? Whew, almost. Careful. So we got to be careful on how we buy. But the thing I really enjoy about real estate is it doesn't just evaporate. How long has real estate been around? That's not a scientific question. We're not going to. But think of it. What are the 3 necessities in life? Food, water, shelter. It's always been a basic need and will always continue to be a basic need. That's something I can invest in. That's something tangible. That's something that I can go in, touch, feel, see. I understand it. I don't understand the stock market and I don't want to. I understand real estate. Oh, there's a structure. It's a certain value. I can buy it. And here's the amazing thing. If I wanted to go buy $100,000 worth of Apple stock because the new iPhone's awesome and people love it, is the bank going to lend me $100,000 to buy stock? No. But what if I want to buy real estate? Will the bank lend me to buy real estate? Should that tell us anything? Again, I'm not dissing on this. Well, maybe I am dissing on the stock market, but it's only because I don't know how to invest there. Again, there are people that can make money in the stock market, but I didn't have the time to go learn how to do that. That is a very, very specialized skill set, in my opinion. Now, others, I know there's day traders and people know how to make money. That's awesome. I don't. So I wanted to invest in something very simple. To me, this is simple. Here's real estate investing in a nutshell. Okay, find it, fund it, and either short-term or long-term, sell it. And I said, simple. I can do simple. I can find the deal. I can fund it. I'm either going to hold on to it like my rentals, or I'm going to flip them and I'm going to sell them. And I said, that's a process I can learn. Show me how to do that. So I got introduced to mentors, to educators that taught me everything I've learned about real estate investing. There's nobody in my family prior to me getting started that had any real estate experience. There's no, I mean, the financial background, my dad was in banking. but he didn't teach me how to do real estate. He taught me about finances, but honestly, you know where I learned the most about finances? Where are my Boy Scouts in the room? Personal management merit badge, yes. Track a ledger for 3 months. I'm a scoutmaster for my local scout troop now, and you better believe I'm making my boys do personal management. We're going to start teaching them, and we're also going to play that game in the back, cash flow. I'm going to teach them how it works for real, in real life. So find it, fund it, sell it. If we can get educated, get a mentor, then we can go out there and we can take action. And we can be profitable. Darren and I, again, $2.2 million in the last few years. Kim, in her own right, she's awesome. She's out here making deals happen. She's done a couple of deals on her own. Her last fix and flip made $52,000 on one transaction. Just picked up some rental properties. This was very exciting. Last week, what did you tell us about your rentals? You gave us a percentage that was awesome.
We just closed last week on 1/10 of my husband's retirement money. Like, you know, we have 1/10 now. So we know where we're headed. We have.
Do you understand what she's saying right there? How cool is this? They've already run their plan, they run their figures, and they have a dollar amount in mind of what they need to buy his time back so he can walk away from his job and be a full-time husband and father and no longer doing the daily grind and doing the rat race. Last week, you closed on 4 little tiny rental properties, little tiny rentals, and you are 1/10 of the way there. How cool is that? How many of you would like to have a formula where you knew exactly where you were? And that is awesome. Now, are these just huge hundreds of thousands of dollars that you had to invest here?
No.
No? These are little tiny, they're cute, 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 right, Darren? We've heard that term. We were out there when we bought these houses. They're in Illinois, and we were able to buy these houses. We can get these properties that you can buy for $25,000. A house, not a car, not a house on wheels. It's a house on a foundation. And the best part about these houses is they have a net cash flow in the ballpark of $400. You see, in Utah, I had to spend $120,000 to get a net cash flow of $400. Here, 25 grand on this house. So now Kim knows they're 1/10 of the way there. That's awesome. And what did Kim do? She got educated, she got a mentor, and she took action. So before we go too much, I want to pause for a moment. We could go and we could tell you transaction after transaction after transaction of how we have gone out and done real estate and made it very, very profitable. How we've come out and generated a profit of $2.2 million. But before we go much further and get into the rest of the meat this evening of giving you the questions of here's what you're going to ask, and by the way, it's specifically going to be about IRAs. We're going to take 15 minutes and we're going to watch a very quick video. After that, we're going to jump right back into it. Sound fair? All right, let me move this out of the way. Let me pull this up real quick. We're going to do a little live demo, live tour here. Renatus, as you've figured out by now, is an educational company. We teach, train, and educate people how to invest in real estate. Now, you saw that there's 17 instructors, there's 41 different classes. I think you saw a couple of familiar faces in there, didn't you? Did you see one of the instructors that looked like Darren? Well, that's Darren. One of the, okay, it's a cool thing right here for our local community is Darren and I are both instructors for the school. We teach the fix and flip class. It's a 2-day class, and we also teach raising private capital, private and hard money. Now, it's hard to toot our own horn and say, so you guys are so lucky that we live here. But I know that sometimes that's what our students have told us, is that they feel lucky to be here, because last week, Darren and I both, we flew out to other markets, and they pack the rooms for people that want to come in and just learn what we teach. I mean, Darren was teaching in Phoenix last week. I was in Atlanta. Next month, I'm going to Salt Lake, and I'm going to Phoenix next month. They said, wow, that half of the presentation was awesome. Let's hear the other side. So we're instructors. We live here. We work here. You're part of our community. We're instructors that had the vision that said, we want to share this with others. So that's kind of fun because when I got started, I didn't have a mentor. When Darren and I first started our business together, we were just kind of leaning on each other saying, let's go out and figure this out. We didn't have anybody to look over our shoulder and tell us if we were doing it right or wrong. Now, we and the whole community, it's not just Darren and I, but the whole community is here to support one another and say, hey, let's look at this deal together. And we don't care what your experience is, if you're brand new or if you've done dozens of deals. We just want to take what you've got and improve upon it. And then hopefully you'll be willing to give back and share with others. How many of you, that's your personality? If you learn something, you'd be willing to share it with others. That's what we do here. I mean, it's part of what Bob Snyder, the CEO of the company, has ingrained into us. So let me show you very, very quickly. We're going to take all of 5 minutes to go over this, and then we're going to get right back into the education, because that's what we're here for. And I'm going to enable you guys each to pass these around tonight. This will be this is where it gets real, okay? We talk about raising money, and then I'm going to let you hold a little bit of money. Probably more money than any single one of you have ever held in a certain given time. Does that sound exciting? Who has ever held $730,000? Who would like to? Brian's like, I do. Like to hold $730,000? Okay, in just a few minutes. So let me show you. Bob tells you, I mean, I've already told you that we're not a guru company. We don't fly in and then fly out. I mean, Darren and I fly in and fly out to go help our community nationwide. But the community, we live here, we work here. And Bob told you in that video that the education is brought to you on your time frame. Not when it's convenient for us, but we bring the education to you. We've got our education in 2 different components. The first one we call our Essentials course. The Essentials course is 9 different classes. 9 classes, or 10 classes rather, for you to come in and learn how to do real estate. We call this the Real Estate Essentials, but I don't want, so many times people think, oh, this is just introductory stuff. This is just the basic stuff. Well, in part, yes it is, in this class, Real Estate Essentials. But we give you meat, we give you potatoes here. Kim, one of our students, after watching just a few of these classes, put her first deal under contract. That was a deal that we went out and did together. It was a subject to scenario that we showed you. That one transaction, Kim, how much money did we invest approximately in that deal? $30,000 is what we invested. How much net profit did we make on that deal? 26 grand. So just from these classes, just these 9 or 10, and you can see here, I haven't even opened this one. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Just from these 10 classes, Kim had the foundation that she needed to go out and start buying deals. First one she did, $26,000 profit. High five. That was awesome. Because what did she do? She got educated, she found a mentor, and most importantly, she took action. In this class right here, Real Estate Essentials, he'll teach you how to get on Craigslist and maximize your search. How to find deals on Craigslist, and that's what she did. And she found a homeowner that needed to sell. Bada bing, bada boom. Wow, we've got our first deal. So she got educated. Then she looked at the deal and says, I think we can do it this way. But I just looked over her shoulder and said, yes, but what if we did it this way? And we were able to maximize our return on investment. So that's pretty cool. So we cover everything from Real Estate Essentials to self-directed IRAs. We're going to talk about this. You guys want to learn how to find the money? We're going to talk about it in this class. Self-directed IRAs, we're going to teach you how to go out and utilize that to raise capital. Tax and legal, oh my goodness. Mark Kohler is our CPA and real estate attorney. Mark is brilliant. If you just call Mark and you just need advice, he charges $400 an hour. And he's worth every penny. And I can't tell you how many times we've paid him $400 an hour, right? But right here, we've got day 1, tax and legal, day 2, tax and legal. You've got about 2 classes, 8-day classes, maybe a little less, maybe a full running time of 6-7 hours. But let's call it 6. Let's be more conservative than not. That's 12 hours of Mark Kohler teaching you about tax and legal. $4,800 you would spend to just go and learn this at his office. $4,800 value, and it's included right here within our classes. One of the things I see people struggle with is they know they need to set up an entity, and so they'll call Mark and they'll pay him $400 an hour to teach them what they could learn in 20 minutes by watching the classes. So we've got 10 introductory courses here, and this program, our Essentials course, is available. Let me come over to the board. Okay. 10 classes. We've got over 120 hours worth of information just in the Essentials, and it's available to our students for less than $2,000. $19.97. Here's the cool part. It's like Netflix. It's available whenever you are. 24/7 access. You've got access to the class. Now, not only do you have access to watch the classes, I was talking to Scott earlier. Scott's one of our students. What do you do, Scott? Because you're a traveling salesman. You don't have a whole lot of time to sit down in front of your computer, so what do you do at the classes?
I stole Kendall's iPod Touch and I listened.
That is true. You did steal my iPod Touch. I'll give it to you. It's yours.
It'll be coming back to you once I listen to all the classes.
No, I'll
That's
seriously.
what I do like about it, because I'm in my car a lot, so I can put my headphones on and listen to it. Or when I walk the dog, I can just constantly have it going, and I'm one of those I have to hear it multiple times.
Okay,
For me
so
to sit in front of a computer and actually watch a video gets very difficult because of my time constraints with my W-2 job.
So here's the cool thing. We give you access to all the education. We've got the essentials, and then we take it to the next level because, like Kim, we learned the foundation enough to go out and start doing deals. But did you have all the information you needed? No. So then we break it down into the higher advanced accelerated investor training. And what we do here is we break our training down into 6 different educational categories. We break it down into lease options, fix and flip, short sales, multifamily, notes, tax deeds and liens, and commercial real estate. And then we throw in a whole bunch of bonus classes. What does this mean? This means whatever you want to learn about in investing, we cover it. And it's available 24/7, and you can watch it over and over and over. You don't have to uproot yourself, take time off from work, and fly down to a seminar in Phoenix or fly to Florida. And most of our competitors, if you will, they teach one discipline. And they'll teach one discipline, and their 3-day workshop is $5,000 on, let's say, short sales. And then they'll teach the discipline of raising private capital. And that 3-day workshop is $5,000. I have never seen a company that offers so much education for so little investment. Now, so little is a relative term, yes? Because Kim, on your first deal that you found on Craigslist, you made how much money? Well, we split it. Yes, we split that deal.
So just under 15,000.
But the first deal, we made $26,000. So your first deal out of the gate, you made $13,000. You'd invested less than $2,000. Was that a good rate of return? And then did you stop there? No. Then you took your advanced classes, and you started. Which arena did you start with, Kim? Subject to, because that became relevant, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, she needed to learn more about one class. And the nice thing is she didn't have to wait for it. She went home that night and watched the class. Set up an appointment with the seller. We went in and had a conversation. A few days later, we had it under contract and we owned the property within a matter of just weeks of your initial contact, right? So the fun part about this is you're going to become well-rounded. You don't necessarily want to go do all of these strategies. Out of the gate, I want you to be a focused specific, not a wandering generality. What do I mean by that? You're shaking your head. Denise, what do I mean by that? Yeah. If a fix and flip comes to you and that's what you want to do a fix and flip. If you're working on learning the strategy of fix and flip and all of a sudden a commercial deal comes that looks really good, should you veer off and do the commercial deal?
Probably not.
No. What if it's a screaming deal? Should you veer off? No. Or wholesale the deal. But get really good at one thing and then expand. That's what I've done in my education. I came in and I started watching many and all of these classes so that I was well-rounded in what I did. And I don't use every single one of these skill sets every day, but there's pieces that I use every day. There's pieces from the multifamily real estate classes that I use in my fix and flip business. There's pieces from every one of these disciplines that I can use in my business. Let me show you, for instance, let me show you one of the deals and bring this all together. Darren and I are fix and flippers, okay? Go ahead and put the lights on for just a second, Darren, and then we'll, actually, yeah, we're good. We can shut that down for a moment. Bring the lights on. Darren and I are fix and flippers. That's our daily business. But watch this. We came across an opportunity where we could buy a 7-plex. Now, 7-plex, is that commercial real estate or residential? By definition. Commercial. Why? Because it's 5 units or more. So we bought this 7-plex and we integrated so many strategies. Should we get back to raising capital? Let me show you this 7-plex and see what you guys think. We found a 7-plex back in Illinois, the same place we're buying our little rentals, that was for sale, 7-plex. It had a gross cash flow of $44,000, a net cash flow of 30 grand. Who likes the deal so far? 30 grand a year cash flow. For sale for 95 grand. So far so good? We didn't pay 95. We paid 75,000. That's the negotiation class at work. Taking it from 95 down to 75. We don't have time tonight to get into the details, so we're going to do really high level, really fast on this because I want to get back to IRAs. In raising capital, we could have just brought $75,000 cash and paid for it cash, but we didn't do that. We utilized creative financing, and we raised capital by saying, so now we're taking components of negotiations, creative financing, creative acquisition, raising private capital. We've got like 7 classes of information pointing towards this deal. And what we did is we came with a 10% down. We put $7,500 down, and then we raised private capital. And we asked the seller to carry the balance. Is seller carry finance? Is that another way of raising capital? Seller carry finance, he took back the remaining balance. At what interest? I proposed, I said, I'll give you 4%. He said, oh, no. I won't do it for 4%. Give me 5. How many of you would take that deal? So let me show you something here, guys. We put out of our pocket $7,500. And that yields a net cash flow of $30,000 a year. The seller is going to carry that note for 3 years. So the first 3 years we have a mortgage payment on it, right? Even with our mortgage payment, we're still positive cash flow approximately $700 a month. Do 7 times 12. What is that? 84. Calculate the cash on cash return on investment. I invested $7,500. My first year, assuming no vacancies, right? My first year, if we get the net cash flow of $700 a month, that's over 100% return on investment. How many would like to do that deal? Okay. This is just taking information. I got educated. I found a mentor, and in this case, I got to be a mentor. My partner out there says, I don't know how to negotiate this deal. I said, set an appointment. Many times that's all it takes, right, Kim? They say, I don't know how to do it. And I said, set an appointment. Because do you think I love this stuff? I love sitting down with the homeowner and negotiating it and asking a few questions and dropping the price 20 grand like that. Because that's money that goes in our pocket. So all of a sudden, we've got $30,000 a year for as long as we own these properties. And we can increase rents. We can do all sorts of things to make that a beautiful cash flowing property. So that was fun. I mean, does that excite anyone? Who would do that deal? Who could come up with $7,500 if that deal was presented to them? Okay? It becomes a no-brainer. So now the question becomes, okay, you've shown me deal after deal after deal that makes it worth it. If you need more, go look at our boards. Okay? That we make a lot of money flipping houses. Well, what's the investment then to learn this information? We know our introductory course is less than $2,000. What is it for all in? All in everything? We've got a couple of different packages. We've got our Essentials course, which is $2,000. Then the AIT package that we're looking at up here, you can come in and choose to purchase 2 of the tracks. But sometimes it's like, which 2 do I choose? If you're just going to choose 2, I'm going to recommend that you're already a very seasoned investor. Because once you pick your 2, you're stuck with those. You're limited with those. So that's available. How much is that one? I don't even know. $7,900 or $59? How funny. I don't even know how much it is. You know why? Because nobody gets started at that level. It's like $5,000. I think that one's $5,000 for 2 tracks. Here's where everybody gets started. They get started with our Essentials package plus everything. Everything we offer. And here's why. You see these classes? We just keep adding classes. We add classes. This whole commercial section just rolled out January 1. January 1, they rolled out commercial real estate. We are constantly re-recording our classes so they're as fresh as they can be. So we're going to go up and re-record our fix and flip class come March. So our all-in package for everything we do, $19,994. Here's the cool part. It's available for you plus a guest. And how long do you think you get access to it? If I go to Rich Dad and pay $65,000, I get access for 1 year. And my support system is an 800 number and an email address. With our program, you get access to the program, lifetime access. As long as the website is up and running and Renatus is in business, you get access. And we're not going anywhere. How cool is that? You don't just have 1 year to take your education, not 2 years, but you just get to come and plug in. Okay? Now, the nice thing is we're going to show you different ways this evening. I mean, we're talking about raising capital. I can show you 10 to 15 different ways to come up with the capital to get started if it's of interest to you. However, let's get back to the subject at hand. Because I know, just like Bob said in the video and the way we handle it in our presentation, is most people, they come down, they're not ready to make a $20,000 buying decision. They say, teach me, train me, let me learn some more. So let's get back to it. Let me change this out real quick. Darren, go ahead and turn that off. And let's get back into our system here. What we would encourage you to do is come back. If you're learning something, come back next week. You'll learn something more. And come back after that, and after that, and after that. And eventually you're going to get to the point that you're like, okay, I'm tired of hearing about all this money being made. And people come to us for a number of different reasons. They may want to just invest their capital with us. They may want to learn how to do it. They may want to do a little bit of both. They may want to partner and then go out on their own. Whatever you're desiring, we've got something for you here. There's a fit someplace. Sound fair? Okay, now, that took a little bit longer than I wanted, so let's run through this real quick. IRAs and 401ks. Okay, the passion's coming out here. That's what happens. I start leaking. But I'm not going to touch my forehead with my marker. We're going to rock it. All right, IRAs and 401ks. Let's talk about this for a minute. Because IRAs and 401ks, how many of you prior to this evening, is this a new concept to you that you can invest a 401k and IRA in real estate? Okay, Susan's saying, I've never heard of that before. Most people haven't. But this is powerful. This right here represents, okay, if I pass it around, nobody's going to steal my checks, right? Darren, you're in the back. There's not a whole lot you can do with them, but if we lose them, this one would be $200,000 out of one of my investors' pockets, and they wouldn't be happy with that. But as we pass these around, go ahead and look at them. Just have some fun. Soak it in. Enjoy holding $730,000. And I'm going to show you how I raised $730,000 very quickly, and how in the next couple of weeks I have another $550,000 already slated for and coming within the next few weeks, plus $285,000 more that we're in negotiation with right now. What we're going to go through in the next few minutes is how I raise capital. It's from IRAs and 401ks. How do we do that though? Because my financial advisor told me, wait a minute, Kendall, if you touch your IRA, you're only 36 years old. What are they going to charge me if I go in and take out my 401k or my IRA? They're going to charge me a penalty and huge, huge taxes. So I'm going to get an early withdrawal penalty and I'm going to get hit with taxes. And they're going to say, you can't do that. Well, is that true? Whose money is this? It's my money. It's your money. Now, again, by show of hands, how many of you have a retirement plan? Now, we don't have time to get into this too much tonight, but just shout out. How much do you have?
Not enough.
Not enough. Give me some numbers, quickly. 14,000. 250,000. Keep going. 25,000. There were more hands than 3. And just in full disclosure, I'm not soliciting capital, right? I just want to illustrate something. 30,000.
I don't watch mine because it only shrinks.
It goes down. That is a sad reality. The gentleman that's bringing us $300,000 next week, he didn't open his statements. And when he did, it was it was pathetic. 0.03 was his return on that last quarter. Painful. So you guys said you needed $250,000 to go out and do your deal. Look how this works. When you start to ask questions that are none of your business, you start raising capital. Did I not just ask a question that was none of my business? Yet you answered. How many other people do you think would do that? So I'm going to write down, we're going to go over 3 questions I want you to write down tonight. 3 action items that you can leave here this evening, you can implement tomorrow, and you can be on your way to raising your own $730,000 or $1.2 million or $1.5 million. Question number 1. Let me see if I can find this. I've got a slide here real quick. Let me see if I can find it very, very quickly. All right. Let's throw them all up on the board because I'm going to teach you how to ask questions that are none of your business. Okay? Because isn't it taboo to not talk about, you don't talk about people's finances, right, Jen? That's rude. Or is it? It might be. But how many of you are willing to get outside your comfort zone and ask questions none of your business? Here's how I pose the question, Jan. Jan, if you don't mind me asking, without getting too much into your personal space, let's fill in the blank here. Whoops. How much do you currently have in your retirement plan? It's not coming up? How come? I don't either. Oh, there we go. So let's move this. Jan, if you don't mind me asking, without getting too much in your personal space, how much do you have in your retirement plan? And they answer. Guys, it's really none of your business, and I know that. But if you don't have capital to invest in real estate, could you make it your business? Now, let's look at why it becomes my business. Because right now, they're currently leaving it in the market, and poof, it's gone. So if you don't mind me asking, how much do you have? What might we follow that question up with? What kind of a return are you currently getting? Now, those of you who have retirement plans, answer the question. What kind of return are you currently getting? Nothing to brag home, nothing to write home to mom about, right? Who will give me a number? Whose plan's doing well right now? Because some of them are. Jared, did you say you had a plan?
I do have a plan. I don't know what the rate is. I need to look.
Isn't that crazy?
I know it goes up each time, but I haven't looked at the rate. So.
Wall Street has conditioned us to believe this is not our money.
Yeah.
They've conditioned us.
The reason why it's going up is because I'm putting money into it.
You know how many times I talk to people and they say, I got to put money in every month so I don't lose. I'm like, think about what you just said. Is that a good investment? No. Guys, what I want to do tonight is I want to connect you with the idea that this is your money. It's not Wall Street's. When you learn to ask questions and say, how much do you have? What kind of a return are you getting? Now, it's none of my business, but now I'm going to step into the role of the reason I want to know is because I can help you. The reason you're passing around checks of $730,000 is because people are allowing me to help them. Because I asked them this next question. If I could show you a way to double or triple your return secured by real estate, would you be open to having a conversation about investing with me? How many of you could ask that question? Is that threatening? Am I just in your face? Fred, you got to tell me exactly how much you have right now. No, it's very soft. It's like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, how much money do you have in your account? And they tell me. And I say, what kind of a return are you getting? And they say, you know what? It's a horrible return. I don't even open my statements. The only reason it's going up is because I'm contributing capital. And then I can step in and help them. Then I can step in. You guys have that? If you need that, keep writing it down. Then I can step in and have a conversation and say, what if you're getting 6%? That would be pretty good in today's market, yes? Let's go 8, even better. If I came to somebody who's getting 8% and said, David, you're getting 8% on your money. If I could double or triple your return secured by real estate, would you be open to having a conversation about investing with me? What do you think he's going to say? Absolutely. How many of you are investors? You want to be investors. You've got money and you put it in the market because why? You want that money to grow. You want that money to be making money while you're sleeping. So if I offer you an opportunity to double or triple what you're currently getting and it's secured by a hard asset, not some poof magical document, do you think people would be open to a conversation? Yes or yes? Not only are they open, they say, yeah, I would be open to that. Now is my job done then? Heck no. Now we've got to go through and I've got to explain to them, let me show you something. Did you know that your money, your dollars, they can be invested in anything allowed by law? You see, Fidelity has you conditioned to believe that you can only invest in what they sell, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. That's not true. This is your money. And so I connect the dots for them. And I say, look, you've got your money over here at Fidelity or Oppenheimer or whoever holds your money. What I want to do is I want to show you how you can take your money, you can come by 123 Main Street and make a return. And I show them a very simple process that my children can draw out. I say, after they say, yes, I'd be open to a conversation, I say, let me educate you on how this works. We're going to take your money from Fidelity and we're going to do a direct rollover. We're going to put your money into a third-party custodian. What do you think that might be? Another trust company just like Fidelity. Someone that's going to take your money and hold it. It's a trustee. But the difference is with these third-party custodians, you can invest in anything allowed by law, not just stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So if you move your money from a direct rollover to a third-party custodian, do you get charged taxes?
Nope.
Do you get charged penalty?
Nope.
Early withdrawal?
Nope.
None of that. It's a direct rollover, just like you had transferred your money from Fidelity to Morgan Stanley. Now from the third-party custodian, we've got some options. You can direct your money, you can invest your money directly into assets, or the way Darren and I run our business is we have people partner up with us. All these checks you're holding, this is the way that works. Our investors put up the money, and our investors own 50% of our company. Sage Investing owns the other 50% of this new LLC. They have chosen, instead of investing in stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, they're going to invest into an entity that's going to go buy houses. They get membership of the LLC. That's now their investment. Now the investment LLC goes out and buys houses. Here's why people give us money. We say, look, we're going to create this new LLC, and this is, you guys can all do this. You can ask the questions, you can draw this out on a napkin. You know how many times I've drawn this out on a napkin? And you can say, we can go down, we can set up a new LLC. You can transfer your funds into a new LLC, we're going to go buy a property. Now, our average, Darren and I, we start telling them our story. If you don't have a story right now, don't worry. In our classes, when we teach raising private capital, we're going to teach you how to create your own story, how to create a track record, even if you've done not a single deal. Why do you think somebody gave us $500,000 and we hadn't bought a deal yet? What gave him that confidence? We created a track record before we ever spent money. And we'll teach you exactly how to do that. Now, does it require work? It does. How many of you are willing to work to get $500,000? So am I. So then we continue the story and we say, okay, we're going to take the new LLC, we're going to go buy a house, we're going to fix it, we're going to flip it. On average, Darren and I, we don't like to do deals unless we can make a minimum of $20,000. Now this $20,000 profit, where is it going to go? Back into the LLC. And those dollars are going to be split how?
50-50.
According to the percentage of how much money they have in the deal. Now what if you say, well, yeah, okay, I need $250,000. I don't know somebody that's got $250,000. What if this was only $150,000 or even $50,000? Could we take all of these people here and could we put all of them into the investor component here according to how much cash they contributed? Yes. Why is that exciting? Because I know dozens of people that have a 401k or an IRA with maybe 30 grand in it. And they discount $30,000, do they not? You say, how much do you have in your retirement plan? And they're like, I've only got $30,000. Okay, if I ask you how much do you have in your checking account right now, are they going to say, I've only got $30,000? No, they're going to be like, I got 30 grand in my checking account. They're going to feel pretty good about it. So why there's this disconnect with money is Wall Street, A+ for marketing. They've got us conditioned to believe it's not your money. So when Darren and I have done this over and over and over, what we have found is that on average it takes us 112 days. And our investors, what do they get? A 5 to 6% return on this deal. Okay? Over 10,000? Well, Spencer, I don't even have a balance of over $300. I just now got my first credit card after my debacle. They gave me a $300 limit and my annual fee is $75. That's 25% of my balance. So some people are going, I don't even have enough money that I could put it on my credit card. But do some people? Absolutely. So credit cards is a good way. Kim said HELOC. What is this? This is a lender term.
Home equity line of credit.
Home equity line of credit. Are people willing to borrow against their own home to fund a rehab? Yeah? Okay. Now this is interesting because I'm asking you guys questions tonight of would you be willing to use a credit card? And people are like, oh, heck no. But I'm going to teach you how to go borrow other people's money. They're cold hard cash. And it's a little bit frightening to watch how many people will invest other people's money carelessly. But they wouldn't invest their credit card or a home equity line of credit. So rule number 1, let's get down to financing rule number 1. I forgot the disclaimer. Write this down in whatever version you want. If you're not willing to invest your mother's life savings, you have no business borrowing other people's money. That's kind of rough, right? Specifically in what I'm going to teach you, if it's a hard money lender, go for it. That's their business. They know the risks as well as you do. So let me differentiate that. Hard money lending, go for it. They're big boys, they're big girls, they know the risks. That's why they're only going to give you a certain percentage. But when we get into the private capital and I start showing you how to go raise money, you got to promise me you're not going to use their money if you're not willing to put your mom's life savings at risk. Fair enough? And I'm very serious about that because I've seen far too many investors be cavalier with borrowing money because it's not theirs. Well, yeah, but if you've got an investor and that's their life savings, oh, that's a beautiful sound. Little girl, I see pink. I knew it was a little girl. I've got 4 daughters. Did I tell you that? Darren did. That's right. I've got 4 beautiful girls. So when we were raising capital, so these guys, they'll lend you the money. Then there's other forms. There's credit cards. There's HELOCs. What else? IRAs. Retirement plans? Really? We can use those for real estate investing?
That's what you told me last week.
Oh. Nancy's ready to go toe to toe. She's paying attention. She's like, either you're lying or very good. We're going to talk about this. This is the goose that lays the golden eggs. What about cash? We haven't mentioned cash. Do people just have cash sitting in their accounts? Okay. What are other ways we can finance the deal?
Full life insurance policy.
Life insurance policies? Awesome. Now, it's whole life insurance. It can't be term life insurance. Okay? My term life insurance policy, I'm worth way more dead than alive, but I can't get any value of that right now. I just get a whole lot of peace of mind that if something were to happen to me, my family's taken care of.
How about promissory notes?
Promissory notes, you could borrow the money. Okay, that's more of the way to secure the investment, but promissory notes, you can just borrow it from somebody else. So in most cases, that's what we're going to use one of these avenues to invest over here. Now, is there traditional lending? Can we go to a bank and just go borrow money to buy a house? Get a mortgage on the property. Absolutely. So there are numerous ways of buying property, and these are the ones we normally think about. But let's look at something different. I'm going to change the numbers just a little bit, if I may, so that I can, rather than speaking in hypotheticals, I can speak in actual numbers. Let's say that you find a homeowner, and here's the situation. They owe $215,000 on the house, and the market value is about $310,000. And it needs in repairs approximately, numbers guy, I'm looking at you, Monticello.
About, I'd say 15 grand.
Does anybody want to be my partner? He doesn't even keep up with me here. $15,000, $15,000 in repairs. There's a way of raising capital without ever borrowing money. Is that cool? So what am I talking about here? We found there's a home that came to us. Somebody in our community brought us a deal and said, here's the situation. There's always a situation. And the best thing is if you can learn to solve the situation, solve the problem, can you get paid? Do you want to turn the AC down just a little bit? Everyone looks like they're freezing. Oh, I love it though. It's so awesome. I love it. So here's a situation where I'm going to show you how to raise $215,000 without ever getting $215,000. The homeowner, they had what? What is this called? If they owe on a house, that's called a mortgage. It's called, I like to write loan because it's easier and shorter to spell than mortgage on the board. They have a loan, they have a mortgage. Now this homeowner, they were behind on payments. They were 7 months behind. Now if you've got a homeowner 7 months behind on their payments, what do? Is there a situation we might be able to solve there? Let me tell you what happened. These investors, or this investor, he brought us the deal and he said, I don't have the cash to do this deal. Will you do it with me? Here's what it needs. It needs $215,000 plus he's delinquent about $12,000. So really he owes $227,000. He owes $227,000 and it needs $15,000 in repairs. I don't have the money. Can you do this deal with me? And Darren started analyzing the numbers and he said, wow, this is the first time this has ever happened. Somebody brought us a deal that was actually a deal that could be done. So he starts looking at the numbers and I said, whoa, wait. Did you ask them if they're open to creative solutions? And he said, no, I didn't. I was just raising the money. We were going to bring $227,000 cash. And we were going to go pay off the loan, we were going to fix it up, and we were going to flip it. And we were going to make a decent profit. And there's nothing wrong with that strategy. But is there something else we could do? Raising capital. See, in this scenario, I raised, quote unquote, I raised capital by coming in saying, Mr. Homeowner, if you're open to something creative, how about I bring you current on your loan? That cost me $10,000. How about, in addition to that, I pay the wholesaler a $10,000 wholesale fee because they brought us a stellar deal. And actually there was one more in here, right, Darren? There's another $12,000. Thank you. I would have forgot that. So this $12,000, sorry, this one brought the loan current. This one we gave to the homeowner for walking away from his home. And this one we gave to the wholesaler. Now that's a lot of money to give away, yes? But if I can buy a house for $34,000 instead of $227,000, how many of you could go find 34 grand within a week? Now we can talk to a couple of people and we might be able to pull together a couple of credit cards or a HELOC or something. 34,000, you can almost reach that. You can at least grasp that. Much easier than 227,000. So the way we raised capital here is we did just that. We took over their payments, we brought their loan current, we paid them to leave, We went in, we fixed this up. This is a house that we're doing right here in Murrieta. We fixed it up. We're flipping it right now. It's in escrow. You can go see the property. You're more than welcome to go walk through it. If you want to go see a tour of the property, give me a call. We'll go see it, touch it, feel it. If you want to look this up on your own, just look up this address, 26200 Monticello Way, right here in Murrieta. And you'll see it on Redfin. You'll see what we're selling it for. You'll see that we are in escrow. I don't recall, did we get full price on this, or did we reduce it?
I don't know, I think we did.
He doesn't know.
We went to 305.
Forgive him, he doesn't have his computer. I think we did sell it for full price, but then we gave him a $5,000 credit towards their closing. Please.
Question, so the 10,000 was for the wholesaler, right?
Yes.
And remind me, what was that for again?
For bringing us the deal. They actually brought us a deal that worked. And that has never happened before. Nor has it happened that we pay a $10,000 wholesale fee. This was a unique situation, but it worked. They brought us a great deal. They didn't have the money. They said, hey, we want $20,000. I said, no way. It's not that good of a deal. So we whittled them down to $10,000. They were stoked. One of the investors, it's the first money he's ever made on real estate. How many of you would like to find a deal and hand it to me and we pay you for that? That is awesome. That guy walked away with 10 grand and he didn't have to do anything. No fix, no flip, nothing. So in this scenario, we just raised capital by doing what?
Asking questions.
Asking questions and utilizing the existing mortgage. In essence, isn't that like the bank giving me $215,000? That's raising capital. But we don't think of it that way because we didn't bring in $215,000 cash. So we'll teach you situations on how to ask these questions. We'll teach you how to find these properties. Okay? All of these different scenarios, and then it's just a function of ask the right questions. Awesome. So raising capital can sometimes be, and we refer to this, what type of transaction is this called? What is this called?
Subject to.
A subject to purchase. And it's subject to, at first I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I'm buying this home subject to the existing financing. And when I first started, I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't know that there were two pieces of paper that were very important here. One of which is a deed. Right? You've got the deed and you've got the mortgage. Which one defines ownership? The deed. So if you go do a title search on this property, you will see our company owns it. You look up ownership, Sage Investing owns it. How cool is that? Not the homeowner that was losing the property. Now there's also some really good feel-good story in this that's important. The gentleman that was losing the home here, he'd served our country. He was a veteran. He had VA benefits. What happens if he forecloses on his home? He loses his VA benefits for life. Is that solving a challenge? Are they stoked? Are we stoked? Now, I'm going to prep you as best I can. You've run numbers. Our approximate profit on this property, based on the way we've run it? About $22,000. And how much cash do we have into it? We calculated there.
It's about 60.
About 60 overall for everything. How many of you would exchange $60,000 for a $22,000 profit? Oh, how long? We acquired it December 1st. We're in escrow now on about a 45-day escrow. So I think we're going to go middle of March when we close. So just a few months. Who would be okay with that type of return? How many of you think it's easier to find $60,000 to do a transaction than it would be to do the 227 plus the 15? So call that, what, 240?
And you're saying 227, but they came to us with a deal of trying to sell it for 250.
They did, you're right.
So it would have been a little more.
They did. So right here, we just raised capital $215,000. And what is that? We have carrying costs on this deal of approximately $1,700 a month. What is that? The mortgage payment. So now we just pay the mortgage for them. Very cool, yes? This is one of my favorite ways of buying properties, because this is really where you step in and you help a homeowner. Because if we don't step in and solve this problem, what's the ultimate fate of this house? It's either going to get short sold or it's going to go to foreclosure auction. And then that person's credit and his VA benefits are gone forever. Please.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
What is wholesaling?
Oh, great question. Wholesaling is, there was a gentleman, his name's Oscar. Oscar found the deal. And he said, I don't know what to do with it. Let's see, Darren, will you buy this? And we analyzed it and said, yes, we will. So wholesaling, he had the contract, he brought it to us, and we bought his contract in essence. And we paid him a $10,000 fee just for finding the deal for us.
And the contract, what did that involve? That he,
I say contract loosely in this one
okay.
because this was a weird deal. It was a father-son relationship. And so his dad's like, I got him into this mess, I got to clean it up. Normally what happens is he would have this deal under contract at, say, $227. Like, I've got the rights to this property for $227, I will sell it to you for $237. Does that make sense? And we would agree to pay that and pay him his $10,000 fee, and away we go. Okay? Great question. Any others while we go on? Before we move on to the next step.
And just one other thing too, when a person buys a property, the deed, so they get the mortgage, it doesn't stay with the mortgage company, it goes to the homeowner then, right?
Usually the mortgage is going to be held with Wells Fargo, Ocwen. It's your loan servicer, and then those get sold 4,000 times. Yeah. Does anybody have the same loan servicer as their original mortgagee right now? So the note gets sold many, many times. The deed of trust, this is what's recorded with the county that says who owns it. Who does this belong to? And we transferred ownership. We transferred a grant deed. We said, nope, we are granting ownership from these guys to Sage Investing. Okay, great questions. The mortgage is still in their name. And the way I knew this was possible is I go back to the very first deal I ever did. Another way that I raised capital, so this is a subject to purchase. Another way I raised capital is instead of going out and raising all the money, I had enough for a down payment on a property. But my credit was actually really good, but I was really young in the tooth. I had no credit history. So go back to 2005 or 4 and 5. If you had a Pulse, could you get a loan? I had a Pulse. I could fog a mirror. They said, Kendall, you qualify. The challenge was my payment was too high. I was a college student making 20 grand a year. Well, should they have been approving me at a college student making 20 grand a year on a house? No, but I had a Pulse, so they did. But I looked at it and I said, I can't afford it. The payment's too high. So the way I raised capital on that deal is I went and got a credit partner. I got a credit partner and then did traditional financing. I called my brother up and I said, hey, I want to buy a house. And he says, well, good for you. I said, but I need your help. I said, what are you talking about? I said, well, I've got the money for a down payment, but I need you to get the loan. And he said, okay, tell me more. I said, the way this is going to work, I'm going to put the down payment, you're going to get the loan, and then after closing, they're going to transfer the title to me, and I own the house. So I own the house, but the loan's in your name. And he said, what's in it for me? I said, 5 grand. He says, where do I sign? So for 5 grand, now this was the very, very first house I ever purchased. Numbers are a little bit different. Okay. This one, the purchase price was only $120,000. I put $10,000 down, and then we financed the rest. To this day, this is a rental property that I own in Ogden, Utah. This little rental, to this day, kicks off about $350 a month cash flow every single month. What's cash flow?
Mailbox.
Pardon me?
Positive.
Positive mailbox money, meaning what, though? Let's be more specific.
After expenses and
After everything is paid, all of my expenses on this house at 1130 38th Street in Ogden, Utah, after all expenses are paid. Now, if it takes on average 112 days to do a house, how many houses can we do per year? 3 point something. So their return is typically anywhere from 15 to 20% annualized return on investment. Do you see why I now ask people questions that are none of my business? I need capital to invest in real estate. And I'm willing to ask questions that are none of my business and say, what kind of return are you currently getting? And if I could double or triple your return secured by real estate, would you be open? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you they say yes. Now, this whole process looks so very simple, but I promise you there is a lot of information here to learn. If I had my choice, we'd go till midnight and we'd just keep going over this stuff. But we don't have time for that this evening. And honestly, in any two-hour workshop, we're not going to have time for that. This principle that I teach this, it's a full day class. We can only squeeze so much into 2 hours. But I assure you that you will leave and you will know exactly how to create a track record even if you have none. How to leverage partners. How to leverage our story to help you raise capital. Who would find benefit in that? Raising money to do your deals, but you leverage our story. And oh, if you need help, guess what I'm more passionate about in real estate than almost anything else? Retirement plans. Kim, how did we meet? You asked me, what do I do for a living? What do I say? What did I say 7 years ago?
Then I teach people how to take their retirement money and invest in real estate.
That's stupid. That is such a dorky thing to say, right? But I love it. Most people don't know that they are sitting on the greatest asset within their own retirement plan. And when I can help them connect the dots, they make more money. And in that scenario, who wins? It's a win-win situation. Only because we're out of time, I'm going to respect your time. I'm not going to continue this evening because Nancy wants me to start and finish on time. Because I've got a bad habit of I could stay up here till midnight. So here's what we're going to do. Okay? I invite you back. We've got other workshops. If you say, hey, I want to learn more about what we do, there's components that I didn't even have time to talk about this evening. How many of you learned something tonight? How many of you found value in this evening's presentation? How many of you would be willing to invite somebody back with you next time? There's a whole component here where we want you to make money. There's many ways that we can help you to make money. But we can't help you to make money if you don't come hang out with us. If you just say, no, I got it, I'm good, I can't help you. But if you're open to learning and saying, I don't know what I don't know, and I believe you could add more to what I know, then we invite you back. Next week, we've got another great presentation. Well, I shouldn't say another because this one may have sucked really bad. I don't know. Next week, we have a great presentation with very nice PowerPoints.